Can you see my VS Code?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this was the question, nth number having k factor, and we will do this like step by step. For people who don't understand like how the for loops and all that things work, please after this session watch the previous session, the programming basics. Okay, and uh, actually before that, let me clear some myths which you have. So many of you use void main because sir taught that. I mean, sir used that in classes, but instead always use int main. Do something and at the end return 0. So unless explicitly asked, never use void main, always use int main with return 0. Whether you are submitting assignment here, doing some question on core forces, hacker, hackering, etc. Everywhere use int main only. This is one. Secondly, many of you write for loop like this: I less than n, I equal to I plus 1, and again something. Now this is correct, but there is a short form which I will be using. I actually taught it before also. So if you write I equal to I plus a, this is same as writing I plus equal to a, and now let's say a is 1. So I mean I plus equal to 1. This is same as I plus plus. So what I will do is instead of this, I will write I plus plus. Cool. Any doubts in this? No? Okay, let's go ahead then. So the problem was int main 0. And yeah, one more thing. If you have only one statement inside the for loop, while loop, or if condition, you can remove this curly braces. You don't need that. Okay. Now let's first do just count the number of factors of any given number. Let's say the number is num, and we take its input. Just let me know whenever you feel. Can we use int main void? Yes, you can use that. Whenever you have any doubt, just speak up or message in the chat. I will be monitoring that. And if the font size is small, let me know that also. Just don't wait to ask your doubt. Since num is an integer, we write scanf %d, not
We can
num.
speak up, Sana, like only chat is not necessary.
What?
I wanted to ask what is the meaning of int main bracket void? Like if we put
It's
void
actually
in.
same as int main. It does not matter in the program if you use int main or int main void. It's essentially the same thing for the compiler.
Okay.
For the compiler.
Okay.
Do we ever put anything in the
Sorry, I think I lost your voice. I lost your voice.
like in we always write int main parenthesis and then the main parenthesis, but we never write anything inside the int main.
Okay, so I think I got your question. So you are saying that we never write something inside this parentheses.
I
So
got
will
your
there be
question.
any
So
case if we write something? So yes,
yeah,
there are cases when you actually give this parameter. So let's say uh, you have a program. I don't know if it will compile. Okay, you compile your program like this. So gcc quiz.c. Uh, oh, I didn't say that. Cool. And now when you run, so you run dot a dot out. Now if you want to give some parameters, so like dot a dot 1, Now this 1 will essentially go as a parameter to this int main. Not directly, I mean you cannot do it like int a. There is a specific format for taking that input, but essentially whatever parameters you give while running the program, it will be handled by int main only. So you take those arguments inside int main. So it won't be blank always.
But then what is the use of giving parameter to int main? Like, what will it do of the parameters?
I mean, you can do anything. So, like here, you are taking number when you run the program. Instead, you can do like while running the program only. Dot slash a dot out. You can give the number like 5, but you have to handle it differently now. You cannot use scanf now.
Okay, so we'll be taught how to handle it later, na? Means we don't know it as of now.
Yeah. You don't know it as of now. If many of you want, I can like teach it in some later session. Otherwise, those who are interested can read about command line arguments in C. Just
Okay,
search on Google and you will find something.
okay.
Cool. Yeah. So now we took the input num, and now we want to calculate the number of factors. So int factors equal to 0. We initialize factor now for int I equal to 1, I is equal to n, I plus plus, if n mod I equal to 0, factors plus plus. This should be num, and this should also be num. Any doubt in this for loop? I mean, how this is calculating factors? It's clear, right? We are just checking from 1 till num how many numbers divide num. So if I divide num, then we increase the number of factors. So factors plus plus, as I said, is same as factors equal to factors plus 1, or factors plus equal to 1. Cool. Now we print the number of factors, and again, since it's an integer, we use percentage %d. Number of factors of, let's say, 10 to 4. What are the 4 factors? 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. Wait a second. Okay, 1. So 1, 2, 5, 10. We have 4 factors. If you have any doubt till now, please let me know. Now, again, just react on relevant message. I am just posting it, but just a second. Right, no, get an idea of how many of you are familiar with time complexity. So O n square, O log n, things like that. Okay, we have decent number of people who know and don't know. Cool. Again, for people who don't know about time complexity, I will not use it much now because you don't understand, but make sure you watch one of the previous sessions. I covered time complexity in that. You can find all the links in the recordings channel. Uh, for those who know about time complexity, can you please tell me what is the time complexity of this for loop? Just either message on the chat or speak up. Yes, so the answer is n, or essentially num, because n is not defined in this case. So the time complexity is on, o num. For those who don't know time complexity just assume that it takes t1 time to run this for loop. Now, as you can see, we are taking all the numbers from 1 till num, and that's why it is taking a lot more time than, I mean, we can do it more efficiently, and that's the reason some of you also got TLE in the quiz. So let's see another way. Taking the example of 10 only, let's say I reach I equal to 2 and I found that 2 is a factor. What other information you have from this much? I mean, I tell you that num is 10 and 2 is one of the factor. Can you find any other factor?
Num by 2.
Yeah, exactly. So I also covered this in brief in previous sessions anyway. So num if I is a factor, then num by I is also a factor. Okay, so we don't always need to go till num. What we can do is for int I equal to 1, I less than equal to num square root num I plus plus if num modulo I int I. So because of this reason, since every time we have I, num by I is also a factor, what we can do is essentially this. So if we find that I divides num, then we have two factors, I and num by I. Okay, I hope that's also clear. And one more thing, if you see, yeah. Thing. If you see, yeah.
So you
For some reason, I'm not understanding what you are saying. For some reason, I'm not understanding what you are saying.
So in today's session, what all are we gonna do?
The quiz problem, and if you guys assignment to turning problem, and if time is left, one solve problem, implementation of solve problem. Turning problem, and if time is left, one solve. So in both group 1 and group 5, we just discussed the logic of the solve problem without actual implementation. Also, one thing, I mean, I know your midsem is on Monday, so if you want to study, you can leave this tutorial because anyway it's recorded. Cool. Perfect. So let's say I comment this much, and let's say I don't scan this, I just write num equal to 25. What will be the output of this program? Okay, why we are incrementing by 2? Because if we find that, let me write here, if we find that I is one of the factor, then num by I is also a factor. So if this condition is true, we have essentially found two factors. One is I and one is num by I. Cool. Can someone please tell me what is the output of this program?
Or
Okay, let's try running it. Just a second. So as you can see, the output is 2. Ignore some changes I did, but output is 2. So sir, you have made your own bash. No, I have not created my bash. I just created some custom functions. We can discuss it in some later session. Do we have a lab session? What do you mean exactly by lab? So, as I told, we will mainly be focusing on 3 questions today: the quiz one, assignment 2 challenge, and the Zor problem, which both groups have a rough idea of. So, as Khushi has said, since it is strictly less than square root num, that's why 5 is not included, and we have 2. And the problem is, if we include the square root num, now we will have 4. But what we essentially want to find is 3, because if we are like putting equal to, we are counting 5 two times, because 25 by 5 is same as 5. Okay, so we cannot do this. Instead, what we will do is, after this, we will check if square root num into square root num, but make sure to convert it into integer. So we are just checking if it is a perfect square or not. So in case it is a perfect square, we just do factors plus plus. What just happened? Okay, one more. So now I guess it should give the correct answer. 3. Cool. But now the thing is, again for the people who know about time complexity, the time complexity is O num into log num. And for those who don't know, let's just say it is taking t2 time, which is less than t1. So this was taking t1 time. It is less than t1. So we kind of improve the complexity, or I mean the quality of our code, but there is one more method we can do, which is even more better. So we again declare int I equal to 1 for, but I mean this time, instead of again and again calculating the square root of the number, we just do I into I is less than num. So essentially it's the same thing. So I is less than square root, or I into I is less than num. It's the same thing. It's just that in this case we are calculating square root again and again. All other things will be like if num I equal to 0, factors to 2. If in this case we don't need to convert to int because I is already int. If I into I is equal to num, which means it's a perfect square, factors plus plus. Any doubt? So
Why isn't factors being the way you wrote the second if statement? Wouldn't it add another one so it would be even more than 4 now?
you were saying about this.
Yes. Like you didn't.
Uh,
I thought it had to be like in an else statement. Like if it's I times I, then it's plus 1. Else, if it's num mod I, it's plus 2.
uh, See, the thing, you understand this much, right? I mean, the previous part.
Uh, it's basically the same thing. There's the if
Yeah.
statement in both parts is doing the same thing. So I just had a question about that.
Okay. So, in case of 25, square root of 25 is 5. I will go, I mean, till 5, but not include 5. So, I will go from 1, 2, 3, 4, and stop. So, how many factors we will find then? I equal to 1, we have 2 factors. Let's write like this. I equal to 1, we have 2 factors. I equal to 2, we have 0. I equal to 3, again we have 0. I equal to 4, again we have 0. So we only found 2 factors by this because we didn't include 5. Okay, and if you see this problem is only, it should be n root n, right? How is it?
Oh wait, I just saw it's you did less than, not less than, equal to. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understood. Yeah.
Uh, Ishwar, so it's n log n because though we are calculating square root, the time taken to calculate the square root is log n. Okay, this is a function call, right? So sqrt is a function. This function itself takes log n time. So that's why n log n.
Sir, why num is multiplied to log n?
Why num? This for loop will run num times, right? So we have first num. Now every time, in every iteration, we are checking this condition, and to check this condition, we have to calculate this. So num, I mean this is the number of iterations, and for each iteration, we are doing this.
Sir, but it is running square root of num times because I is less than sqrt num.
Oh yeah, sorry, this is some. Sorry, this should be, yeah. Sorry about that, I forgot. Yeah, so this is like square root num into log num. Oh yeah, that's why T2 is less. Yeah, thank you.
So what is the purpose of introducing I outside the for loop?
Uh, Wait a second. So if square root of num into, it should be this. Uh, in this case, if you want, I mean, either I can do this to check if it is a perfect square. So in case it's a perfect square like 25, this will be 5, this will be 5, 5 into 5, 25. But let's say we have 30. So square root of 30 will give 5 point something. We convert it into 8, so 5. Again 5, so 5 into 5, 25, which is not same as 30. So this is checking. Now another way we can do this, if I into I is same as num. So that's the reason I declared it here actually.
Okay.
Uh, I'm sorry if I'm going a little fast. The reason is some of the students know this and some don't. So if you feel I'm going fast, either ask out or maybe you can watch previous sessions again.
Sir,
I
if
will
we
practice. Yeah.
initialize square root of n outside the for loop, then a square root will be calculated only once.
Yeah, true.
So, so then the time complexity will be less.
Yes, exactly. So there's another, I mean, that's obviously better than this. Uh, Time complexity wise, it's the best you can do. But again, it's like maybe you can say quality of the code. So if you can do without I mean, without using any function, then why not? I mean, this is very simple to do, right? But time complexity wise, yes, that's the best solution. It's just another way of writing this. So anyone has any doubts in this? How we calculated the number of factors? No? Cool. So now let's delete this much. Yeah, let's delete this. Let's delete this also. We don't need print. So the original question was, yeah, nth number having k factors. Now we know how to calculate the number of factors of a given number. And now let's say we also take input n. So int n can f percent d and percent n. So I've seen code of a lot of you, And what they have done is started a for loop of int I equal to 1 till I is less than equal to n I plus plus, something like this. So, I mean, the constraint is basically n. But if you read the question properly, it's nth number having k factors. So it does not mean that that number will lie between 1 and n. Okay, so let's say I say you find second number having 3 factors. Then obviously it is not between 1 and 2. So this for loop is wrong. And since we don't have any other constraint, we just write while 1. So let's just write n. Or actually, for if you, it will be better for you to understand. So we declare a variable count. Count is less than n. So count is basically a variable storing how many numbers we have found, and we will go till we find n numbers, and then print the last one.
Are you
At this end.
programming it in C++?
The code is full C. I just wrote the extension as CPP.
Okay.
I mean, it's just because I'm a little lazy and these custom functions run for me. But everything is in C. You can just include math.h instead of this. Now, inside this while loop, we need this much. And what is num? Let's declare num equal to 1 because we want to start with num. We, we calculate number of factors, and we at the end obviously need to increase num, otherwise it will like go till infinity. Now if number of factors is same as what was k, we need to take input k also. So int n k plus d. So if this, then count plus plus. Only if the number of factors is same as k, then only do count plus plus. Otherwise, just keep on running. Okay. And what we can do is here only, if count equal to n, we can printf %d. Okay. So is that fine? And one of the other mistake many of you have done is like initialize this int factor outside this while loop. So every time we are checking number of factors of one number, we want to reset it to 0. No doubts? Now let's just see like some of the codes student wrote for this question. And again, I will request you to tell what all improvements we can do. So this is one of the code. Any volunteer who want to tell why did you take in the just a second. Okay, so let's just say we remove it from here. What will happen now? So we initialize num as 1, but where should we change num? Because essentially we want to check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we need to update it somewhere, right? Yeah. I mean, it's just I wrote it in the end. It will work. If you want, you can do like put it here, but then make sure that you initialize it with 0. So the first number you check is 0. 0 will be increased to 1. So the first number you check will be 1. You can update it anywhere, but just remember two things. First, you must update it so that it's not an infinite loop. Secondly, depending on where you update it, change your code accordingly. So yeah. So anyone want to comment what we can improve in this code? Okay, and one more thing. If you are trying to understand this code, just react to the message so that I at least know that I should wait. Romika, have you ever defined a function inside int my? As far as I know, I don't think sir taught you that, right? Okay, we have one answer. Initialization of num factors should be within the while loop. Do you mean here? Actually, if you see, num factor is set to 0 every time we are checking anything. So yeah, we have a couple of answers, and honestly, most of, not most, all of them are correct. There is just some confusion in these three loops. There are different ways you can look at this code. I personally saw it like this for loop, and this all this is like for calculating number of factors of I. So I saw it like this, but obviously yes, you can like see it like while loop and for loop. So according to me, we don't need this while loop because we are like looping from one to a very big number, which will I mean probably never reach. So this thing is same as this. So if you remember, initially I was writing it while one, which is same as infinite loop unless I break it out. Break out of it. So running the loop till a very large number is same as an infinite loop. So it is taking all the numbers and calculating the number of factors. Uh, Now for calculating the number of factors, as we just discussed, instead of looping from 1 to I, loop from 1 to j into j less than I, and accordingly like do num factors plus equal to 2, and later check if it's a perfect square, then another add. And now this is fine.
Wouldn't your code show a TLE? This code which you're showing.
Due to this big number.
Yes, it should show a TLE according to me. In fact,
Yeah, so yeah.
uh, in fact, like it should show a TLE, right?
Uh, See, the thing is, what is happening is count is basically the number of numbers we have found having k factors, right?
And
It
one
was
more thing, why have you
uh,
taken this number?
Like actually, this is not my code essentially. So you can take any big number as,
Got it then. Thank you.
I mean, it's correct. Either you can do this or just run an infinite loop while one. And why it will not give TLE? The answer is we have this count variable which is storing the number of numbers we have found having k factors. Now, as soon as we find n numbers, we are just doing return 0, which will like exit from the main function and then like exit the program. So we will never reach this number essentially
I think you're
because of
saying you'll get a TLE because you're doing less than equal to I, because unless you did the square root method, you would get a TLE.
oh that yeah, as I said, for that you will get the TLE. So instead you do j into j less than I. Is that fine?
Sir, did you say return 0 exits the program
See the
or
return
just the
0
loop?
in not loop. The return 0 will exit from the main function.
Okay. So what's the difference between return and the exit function?
Let me tell you. So let's say you have a function named int pow2 int n. Power2 basically returns the number square 2. So n into number power 2. So n into n, right?
Right.
Now if you do return here, uh, let's say this is not the main function and I create a new main function. Now essentially I am returning something, so it will get it here. I mean the value of n into n will be inside this variable a. Fine. So return just exit this function. Whereas if I do exit 0, it will like exit the program. So you will never reach this statement.
Okay, got it.
In case of int main, when you do return 0, it essentially exits the function. But since main is the like base function of the full program, when you exit from it, you essentially exit from the program.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Sir, when we start this program, first we enter main function or the above function?
We always enter. I mean, the program is started from the main function only.
Okay, always.
Always.
Okay.
Cool. So as I said, so there are two improvements as far as I can see. First is use j into j less than I, and the second was this while loop was not needed. I mean, it does not matter even if you use it because every time. Wait a second. I think this while loop will essentially make it wrong. Anyway, we don't need this while loop, so these two for loops will work, right? No doubt in that, right? Let's go to the second one. Now this is a little good. So again, who all, I mean, those who are trying to understand the code, please react to the message. I mean, debugging and reading others' code is also one of the most important skills in programming. That's why it's worth looking at this code also.
Break only exits the inner for loop, right?
Yeah.
Then isn't this an infinite loop? The outer one.
This?
Yes, because its I is greater than 0.
Yeah, exactly. So this is an infinite loop, but I mean the thing is
Oh,
we were using infinite loop
okay, sorry.
everywhere. It's just no, I mean it's just that the way the infinite loop is written, it's not very good. I mean it's very difficult to understand what you want to convey using this loop. So instead, it will be better if you use while one or just for without anything. This was very confusing. So if anyone reads it, it's very difficult to understand what this loop is doing.
Okay.
Or maybe you can have like since I used so int I equal to 1, no condition and I plus plus. Because I is used, so we cannot do this.
What are they storing in the array here? The A of Z.
Uh, see, the thing is, let's see. So we first create an array of size n. N is a like number of numbers having k factors. If you see, this much is, I think, calculating the number of factors. X is the number of factors, as far as I can understand. Now, if the number of factors is k, it says that set a of z equal to I. So what was z? Was 0. So the first elements become I. First
Okay,
element, I mean
the
the
first element with k factors is added to the
yeah,
array.
yeah.
Okay.
And if you can see, then z is increased, I is also like go on. So the array essentially stores all the n numbers having k factors.
Okay, but then why do we print n minus 1 in the end?
Uh,
Don't you want the last element?
yeah. So let's say we create an array like this.
Oh
So
wait, sorry,
in
sorry. Xing is from 0 to
yeah,
n minus 1. My bad,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, correct.
Okay.
Isn't the first for loop still infinite?
Yeah, it's infinite. But again, it is because we are increasing z every time we found a number, and as soon as we have found n numbers, we break out of the loop. So though it looks like it's infinite, we will break out of it.
It will not break from the inner for loop.
I mean, if you see, just a
Okay.
second. You got it or not?
Yeah, I got it.
Cool. So this is also right. I mean, everyone understood what is. So the thing which can be improved again is like instead of writing this, use this. Secondly, we don't need all the n numbers, so it's just like wasting memory. So just store the last number. And like obviously this j into j is less than I, the theory thing. The last one, let's see. This time again, if you are trying, please react.
Is that J for loop also an infinite loop because square root will give a positive number that's
Yeah.
greater than 1?
Yes, exactly. So it should be as Rohan, do you mean this code? You wrote this code and only two cases didn't work. Uh, English. So what I understand again in this problem, in this code, whoever wrote this was actually trying to loop from I equal to 2 till I is, I mean, this number. I took it till 100,000. See, I'm not very sure what is the largest nth number, and that's why I suggested to not put any limit. Either put a very big limit like 10 to the power 8 or 9, or even better, don't put any limit. But I mean, at least what he was or he or she was trying to do was I is less than equal to. It does not matter, but I mean, from this for loop, I think this is what was specified as 5 digit. Uh, Rohan, let me see actually exact question. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. I'm checking the exact problem. Only then I can comment on this. Answer will be a positive integer less than 1e5. Okay. So those who used 1e5 or more than that but still got wrong answer, please message their roll number personally to me. I will check exact code. If it's written, then at least this should not be the problem. And then this for loop. So again, I think what was, I mean, the purpose behind this was j from 2 till square root I. So instead of writing just square root I, you have to write j less than equal to. Yeah, suppose exactly. So j less than equal to square root I. I and so j is not equal to. Yeah. So this I think is right. But again, this will not give TLE as, I mean, as far as this quiz was concerned. But it will be better if you don't use this SQRT function and use j into j is less than equal to I. It's just a different way to write this same thing and uses much less time.
Isn't that also wrong? Because if I mod j is not 0, then it goes to the else part and it always increments the divisors.
Let's see. Okay, yeah. So again, I think what was, I think every shift should be inside this if condition. If j, where I left the semicolon. Now it looks at least fine. I mean, I don't know where I forgot the semicolon, but it looks fine now, right? So only if j divides I, if this is not divisors plus equal to else, it's fine now, I guess.
Yeah, now it looks proper.
Yeah. Let's see. So first for loop was for finding the number of factors. Second was for looping all the numbers. Let's see what this while loop is essentially doing. So if count equal to n, we break out of loop. Which loop is it? We break out of this loop. And since count will become n, this condition will become false. So it does not exactly matter if we use the while loop or not. So why write extra code and confuse? So just remove the while loop. Now more or less this looks fine. I mean, any doubts?
Won't the floating point calculation of square root cause some problem? Because sir was saying that it might be
Yeah.
3.9999 instead of 4.
Yeah. So instead j is not equal to int square root I. It should be like this.
Sir, if I is equal to 1, 2 or 3, then it will not work, this code. Because sqrt I will be less than 2.
If 1 second, if I is 1, when will I be 1?
Sorry, I is equal to 2 and 3.
Okay, so for now, I mean, I didn't exactly see exact limits. I just saw the overview of the code. So some of you were using 3 loops and wrong conditions. So the first loop should always be infinite to iterate over all the numbers. Yes. Since I mean, the question essentially says that it is guaranteed you will get the answer. It does not matter if you put an infinite loop because essentially you will break out of it. It is guaranteed. Okay. So now I think the quiz problem is done. Let's see.
Okay, so how does break exit the outer for loop as well?
By outer for loop, do you mean this part?
Yes. Why doesn't it
Okay,
just
cool.
keep continuing until 10,000?
सबसे पहले अपने दोनों में से मिश्रण करना नहीं तो गोभी ले लेना मैं दाल भी की ना मूंगी दाल साड़ी बहुत बार मूंगी मसाला तो उसमें मिश्रण
My screen is visible, right?
Yes.
Just a second. See, the thing is, this break here, this is an if condition, right?
Yes.
So break, what essentially does is looks for the nearest for loop. So if you can see, it has an if condition here. Since if is a condition and not a loop, the break will know, the break will not like break out of it. It will go till this for loop. Not this because not this. Just a second. This for loop is only till this. Break is after that. So
Oh,
actually,
okay.
it will go till this and break out.
Okay, okay. I didn't read it properly. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So this for loop is only.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. So let's come on to now Assignment 2 challenge problem. Let's see. I will do one thing. I will not exactly explain the full logic, rather just explain the concept behind that. And actually, it can be done. It can be done with multiple ways. One is very easy. Just store the number of males, females, and empty rooms only, and you can do everything using that. So you don't essentially need to store the whole occupancy thing. So where exactly is male, where exactly are the females, things like that. This is like the one approach, and another is using bitwise things. Let me just show you. So I will just explain you the concept, and you can try that. As I just said, you can also like ignore this bitwise thing also, and there is another simpler way to do the challenge problem also. But let's just say for now. Uh, and one more thing, the bitwise thing will only work if there are no empty rooms. So in the question, if I remember correctly, we have 1, 0, -1. These are the three types of input, right? As I said, it will only work if we have only male or female, so 0 and 1. Now, what you can do, when you are using bitwise operator and you only have either male or female, so it's slightly again different from the OJ question, there is no empty rooms. You can store the whole information. So where exactly is male, where exactly is the female, and still use only 400 bytes. So 400 bytes and store all information. This question can be done without storing all the information, just store the number. But let's see how we can do this. So just a second. Yeah, so let's say we have something 1, 1, 0, 1. So this was the input type, and what you were doing is storing it in array. So let's say we have only one floor and 4 rooms. So how much memory you are using is integers. One integer is 4 bytes, so 4 bytes. And if there are 100 floors and 32 rooms, you will use 100 into 32 into 4 bytes. And the challenge is to do this in 400 bytes. You want to reduce this to this, right? Because you are storing this as integer, this is another, so you're storing 4 integers. Now let's look at the same thing in a little different perspective. So let's say instead of looking this thing as 4 different number, we look at this as a single number. So let's say we say that we take input and it is a number 1101. So sorry, 1101. Now the data for all the 4 rooms on a single floor can be stored in one integer only. Is that clear? So now from 4 integers, you just drop down to one integer. Before you were like taking this as different integers. Now you read it as a single integer. So 1101. Just let me know if it's clear, because the problem does not end here, and I will like continue only if you understand this much at least. Okay, cool. So now, what the issue is? This is a perfectly valid. Okay, could you please once again? Yes. So what we were doing initially is, let's say we have one floor and four rooms. We take four integers, 1, 1, 0, 1. So we take four integers for storing this data. Instead, what we can do is take input 1101 from the user, but use it as a single integer. So 1101. So here we have four integers, but if you see, we can like say it as a single integer also, right? So here it is 1, 1, 0, 1. Now I say it differently. It is 1101. Is it clear now? So I mean, if there is another like 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, instead of using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 integers, you use single integer 1, 0, 0, 1, 0. What is this? 10,010. So instead of storing 5, you just store one digit 10,010. So it will obviously reduce a lot of memory. But now the problem is, on a single floor you have 32 rooms. So what the maximum number can be? 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and like this 32 times. And the integer cannot store this much number. So the maximum number integer can store is like something around 10 to the power 9. And even if you use long, it can maximum store something around 10 to the power 18. So 9 digits and 18 digits. You cannot store 32 digits in any of the, I mean, either int or long. Okay, so this is a problem that we cannot directly just convert. So we cannot convert 1101 to 1101. We need another way because we cannot store this much big number. So now we did it using another approach. Let's get back to 1101. Now one way we saw is reading all different integers. Second way, like consider this binary exactly how it. So the main thing you can do is like consider this as a binary number. So since you have only 0 and 1s, you can convert this into a decimal number. So what will be this? 1, 4, 8, 13. So you can encode this full 1101 into just 13. You guys know how I got this 13, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So now let's check how, I mean, will converting this into binary will be enough or we need more. So again, the maximum number can be 11111 32 times. The this is 2 to the power 0, 2 to the power 1 like this, and this is 2 to the power 31. I mean, this bit represent 2 to the power 31, this bit represent 2 to the power 0, and like this. I assume you have read about this in DSM. If not, please let me know. Now, the value of this number, if you convert it into decimal, if you add all this, it will come to 2 to the power 32 minus 1. And you can now store this inside not int but unsigned int, most surely unsigned int. Okay, so the range difference, if int can go maximum to x, then unsigned int can go maximum to roughly 2x. Isn't int same as unsigned int? No. So for every data type, int, float, long, double, anything, we have two variation. For int also we have two. We have signed and unsigned. Signed mean both both positive and negative. Unsigned mean only positive, and it includes 0. Int is signed unless stated. Yes, so signed is exactly this is default. If you don't write anything, by default it is signed. So by default it can show negative as well as positive. Okay, so this was the challenge problem, and I think if you are able to like solve all the other assignment, you will be able to implement this. So we take input from the user as a binary. uh, if you are saying it like the user will supply 13, you cannot expect the user to like convert this information to binary. The user will still give this 1101. You will have to convert this into binary. So for user, it should not matter what exactly you are doing. The user want ease of experience. So you have to like play around with data as you want without changing how the user interact with your program. Okay.
But then,
Yeah.
but then how we would convert it into 13?
Uh, you guys know right how to convert like 1101 to
No,
binary?
no, using
Not this one.
program without storing that 1101 and converting the input as a decimal.
Okay, so let's. I mean, I'm just explaining for let's say 4 rooms, but obviously you can replicate it for 32 rooms, right?
Okay.
So we have 1, 1, 0, 1. This bit is 2 to the power 0. This is 2 to the power 1, 2 to the power 2, 2 to the power 3. Now, 2 to the power 3 is same as 2 to the power rooms minus 1. So in this case, I have 4 rooms. So 4 minus 1. If you have 32 rooms, it will be 32 minus 1. Cool. So you
Yeah.
have this information. So let's uh, create a variable power equal to 2 to the power rooms minus 1. You take input from user, you get first one. No, let's create another variable answer. Not answer. I mean, I don't know what should I name this variable anyway. It's the decimal value of the input. So initially it's 0. Now you get this 1. You get this 1. You do this. You do decimal plus equal to 1 into this is like asterisk sign, so into power. So 2 to the power 3 is added. Now what you do, power divided by equal to 2, because like the next is divided by 2. So if this was 2 to the power 3, this is 2 to the power 2, and the next will be again divided by 2, 2 to the power 1. So now what you do is like repeat this 4 times. So 2, 3, and 4. 4. Cool. And what the change will be? Let's just see. So now, if you see this one is 1, this one is here, this, let me zoom out a little bit. So this 0 should get here. So instead of 1, I will write 0. So essentially nothing is being added, and this one goes here.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, cool. So Hardik is saying use scanf percentage 1D to read one digit at a time. I think that's correct. Another thing you can do is read like characters. So instead of treating one as a number, uh, so instead of treating it as a number, treat it as a character. I mean, you can do both ways if you want. But now there will be minor change. So when you read 0, it's essentially, I mean, the number 0 is same as the character 0 minus the number 1 is same as the character 1 minus the character 0. If you are reading using character, you need to do this. I am teaching this because I mean this will be very important in later assignments, problems, whatever. The scanf method is honestly used rarely. That's I think is correct, but it's less used and won't be very useful later on. So if the number is 2, let's say, obviously not in this question. So if the number is 2, it's essentially the character 2 minus the character 0. Would we need to use a to 10 convert character to int? No. So this is the character you read. So the character you read, you just subtract the character 0 from that and you get the number. We are subtracting it, yeah, exactly. So every character has a corresponding ASCII value. So when you subtract 0 from it, it essentially converts uh, it to a number. So because when you subtract the ASCII value of 0 from 0, you get 0. So it's just shifting all. Is it clear? So another thing, so let's say you want to see what is the number of position of the correct letter, the user input. So if it's A, you want to output 0. If it's B, you want to output 1. And similarly for Z, you output 25. Let's say you want to do something like this. So C, let's say C is the character you scan and it's a variable. So C is the name of variable. You subtract A from it and that's exactly the answer. So if user input A, you will get A minus A, 0. If user input B, B minus A, 1. C, C minus A, 2. Like this. I mean, this understanding of how ASCII characters work is very useful. Okay, cool. So, now just let me know how many of you don't know the logic of the XOR problem or don't know the XOR problem at all.
Sir, can you show the text above? Sir, a bit more above.
More? Or,
Yes, more.
just tell me what exactly you want. So,
I just want where you have started the second method. Like the method using characters, not the method using numbers. Okay.
numbers, I think this is like the point.
Yes, I think I get it. Okay, here you have started the method using characters instead of dividing again and again.
No, I mean, the dividing thing you will have to do anyways. It's just how you read the input. So
Okay.
either you read it digit by digit using what Hardik said, scanf percentage 1D. Honestly, I've never used that, but I think it's worked. Otherwise, you can read character by character. But anyway, you will need to do this. So you will get this thing 1101. Either you read by digit or character by character, and you need to convert this using this power method to 13.
Okay. Okay. But why can't we do it like if we have a number 1101, we are only
Hmm.
concerned with the number of ones in this number or the number of zeros, right?
For see, that's what I was saying. So as far as the challenge problem is concerned, I don't think you require the exact position where all the males are and where all the females are, and that can be done without even going into all this bit stuff. You can just store how many
Okay,
males
okay.
are there and how many females are there. But if in case somewhere in some question you want to store
Mhm.
this full information, you can do it like this.
Using character by character method.
Yeah, character by character and like converting this bit to a decimal number.
Oh, okay. Converting each bit into a decimal number.
Uh, I mean, you are converting all these 4 bits into a single decimal number.
Yeah, that is what I meant.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do one thing before jumping onto the XOR problem. Just a second.
Can you tell how should we the syntax for this be also?
Do you, I mean, the whole challenge problem or a specific part of it?
Just the reading of the character part. How would we
Sure.
actually read character by character?
Just a second. Let me see the exact input format. Then I will do it. Just give me a second. This is assignment 2, a large problem. Okay, I think it's not on OG, so no one is saying you to read like without spacings, right?
Yeah,
So
the
what?
assignment is not on OJ yet. This particular question is not on OJ.
Yeah, so I mean, if you are given one space zero, what was this? So let's say you are given this, you don't need to play around with anything, right? You can like literally take this differently. Let's do one thing. Let's write the program for both.
I had a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like while converting binary to an integer, there would be like additional variables, right? We have to store like each character and then multiply it with the like proper power of two. So we will have to like have multiple variables.
Yeah.
So like that would increase the memory, right?
Okay. So in the challenge problem also it's written that you use 400 bytes of memory, but you can use a few more bytes for temporary storage. So let me tell you, I mean, as far as this challenge problem is concerned, it's not much problem. Uh, when you have to submit these things on online platform, when you are doing like some serious question, what is matter is uh, like time complexity, I have o n square. We have like space complexity also. So it's like o n space complexity, o n square space complexity. So this space complexity matter. Whatever, I mean, for storing the power to, you're only using one variable. So it will just not count that. It doesn't matter. So I mean, if you have an array of size n, then you have space complexity of on. It doesn't matter how many few more variables you use, 5, 10, 15. It will not count. So in this
Okay,
case
got it.
also, I mean, we are storing how many variables? The number of floors. So for every floor, we have one integer. So the complexity is O of floor, the number of floors. Uh, do you know left shifting operator and right shift operators?
No.
Okay, just a second then. So let's say 1101, this was 13. We write int a equal to 13. Now if we do int b equal to a, left shift, this is like the left shift operator, left shift 2. So what it will do is like 1101, it will shift these bits to left 2 times. So 1 1, let me write it, 1 1 0 1, and for the empty spaces it will print 0, and now it will convert this to decimal. Is that fine? It or not?
Does it not omit the first two ones?
No, it will not omit that.
Then
So the
it's
new so
okay.
the new integer will be like 32 plus 16 plus 4.
32 plus, wait a second, 2. How you got this?
This 110100.
So
So like
this is 1
B will
2 4 8 16 32.
so yeah so my question was like will B will be 32 plus 16 plus 4, right? The value of
Yeah,
B.
exactly.
Okay, okay.
If you are hearing some voice from the background, please let me know. Okay, no issue. So I mean, this was the left shift thing, and if you see, let's say we have a1. What will be the value of this?
Two, like 10.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone got it right. Hardik, how you got 4? If you have any doubts, like please let me know. I cannot just assume that you understood or not.
How did we get two? Can you explain, sir?
Yeah, sure. So a is 1. When we left shift this, what this will become is 1 left shift 1. So 1, and since we have one empty space, it becomes 0. So the answer is 1 0.
Oh, okay.
And like convert this to decimal, you get 2. Oh, okay, Hardik. So the answer to this is 2. Now let's say I write 4. Answer of this,
8.
uh will it be 8? How you got it?
Or maybe I miscounted now. Hold on.
Okay, yeah, so I think Hardik is correct. So the answer is 16. Anyone having any doubt, please tell me right now. Everyone is clear how you got 16? Okay, let's do this. So 64. Yes, correct. Anyone seeing any pattern what we are getting? Yeah, exactly. Someone already messaged. So it is 2 to the power 6. So if we do left shift on 1, it essentially like raises it to the power. So 1 left shift 1 is 2 to the power 1. 1 left shift 6 is 2 to the power 6. It's just doing to the power that. Yeah, I mean, if you do only this, it does not change the value of a. It just returns. Cool. So, given that you understand which, I mean, we don't use it, we will not use it now, but just to make sure everyone knows about this, you understood how left shift works. Right shift, there is another operator like right shift. So a right shift two. So if we have 1 1 0 1, what it will do is, I mean, this is like the ending line. It will shift 2 times. So this 1 1 0 1, and remove everything after this, which is 3. So in left shift case, we have extra spaces, we fill 0. In right shift case, we have less space and we just remove the left out things. It's clear?
So in a program, if we write like a equals 1, like if it's an integer at first, does it automatically convert to binary?
For doing these bitwise operators, so left shift, right shift, it will convert it to binary. It will do these, I mean, operations, but the result you will get will still be an integer only.
Okay.
But I mean, it may look that it is a very time consuming process, but instead, I mean, for those who know, I mean, time complexity again, if you use power function, I don't know if you know this. I mean, the best you can do to calculate power is O of log power. So if you want to raise a to the power b, the fastest you can do is O log b. But if you are using these operators, left shift operator, right shift operator, it is simply O1. 1 means that, I mean, it's constant time. So like it is the fastest anything can happen. So bitwise operators are extremely fast. That's why we prefer to use them. Cool.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so let's jump on to the problem again. So int rooms equal to not 0, and int power equal to, now I will like do the left shift thing. So 1 left shift, and we need 2 to the power 3. So rooms minus 1. One just a suggestion from my side: whenever you are using any bitwise operator, always put braces around everything, because it's very difficult to remember what is the operator precedent. So I suggest you to just put everything in braces to make sure that it is calculated first. Otherwise, I don't know if it will happen in this case or not. What it can do is 1 rooms and then minus 1. But you want this, so literally write that I need this only. You can, however, remove these braces if you want. Cool. Okay. Now, in digit, we don't need to initialize it. For int I equal to 0, I less than the rooms, I plus plus scanf percentage d digit, and in decimal equal to 0, decimal plus equal to power into digit, and power equal to 2. Okay, and printf hd decimal. So any doubt in this?
Can you explain the one left shift rooms? Why did we take that statement? One left shift room minus one.
Okay, sure. So uh, we just saw that int a equal to 1. We do a left shift, let's say 5. This is same as 2 to the power 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the value of a is 1. So I can write this, forget about a. So 1 left shift 5 is same as 2 to the power 5.
Yeah.
So when we do this 1 left shift rooms minus 1, we will get 2 to the power 4 minus 1, which is 3. So 2
Okay, I
to
got
the
it.
power 3 equal to 8. So which is the value of the largest bit we have.
Yeah. Thanks.
NF, oh yeah, sorry about that. Any doubt in this, how this program is working? No? Okay, so just a challenge problem. Uh, how can I replace this statement, power divided by equal to 2, using bitwise operator, left shift or right shift?
Right shift by 1.
Yes, exactly. So instead of writing this, I can write power is equal to power right shift 5. Uh, anyone having doubt in this? So when we are doing left shift, we are essentially multiplying by 2. So 1 left shift means multiply by 2, 2 left shift means multiply by 2 to the power 2, and similarly right shift means dividing.
Sir, here rooms is a variable.
Yeah, like I have created it as a variable you so that you can easily change the value, because in the question I guess it was 32, right?
Yes, but then how are we using it for our benefit? Like, suppose I entered, like, how am I using it to find the number of males on a floor?
You are not exactly using this variable rooms for that. I mean, you are scanning different digits, so 1 0 1 0. I mean, I just created as a variable so that either you can take it as an input from user using scanf, or you can easily change it here and it will get changed everywhere. So it will get changed here. If I write, I mean, if I hard code 4 here, let's say I write here, and you want to run the same program using 32 rooms, you will have to change it 2 times. I mean, this looks small thing to do, but if you have a big program, it will like take a lot of time to change everywhere. So I prefer using variables. Now let's actually do this 1 1 0 1, a little non-symmetrical. Any other doubts how this is working? No? Okay, cool. So what we expect the output is, what will be this? So 1 2 4 8. We expect the output to be 12 for this given input, right? Let's run this program then. So 1 1 0 0 12. Cool. Okay, I assume it's fine. So now another thing, just like we can write a equal to a plus, let's say 5, as a plus equal to 5, and as I said, it is true for every operator. So power equal to power right shift 1 is same as power right shift equal to 1. That's fine. So now let's quickly do one thing. Comment this for loop, and now we will like implement the character thing. So let's say the input is given 1100 without spaces. So if you directly use the scanf thing, it will like read all at once. So you will have to read digit by digit or character wise. I equal to 0, I less than rooms, I plus plus.
Sir, in the program that you have written right now from line 20th,
Yeah.
where you had explained this, sir, can you just give a block diagram of how it's working? Like first I introduce a variable 4, rooms that is 4, and then I'm shifting power, which is equal to 1.
Yeah.
Right. So if I'm shifting, so
I mean, this is same as 2 to the power 4 minus 1.
okay, so power when I'm shifting 1, so it actually gets converted to 2 instead of 1 0.
Yeah, yeah. So as I
Okay.
said, for
Hmm.
left shift and right shift or any other bitwise operator,
Okay,
it
I got it now.
I mean it converts it to bit.
And sir, I don't know why, but we just got a mail that we have an exam at 4 right now.
No, we don't
Uh,
have. No. There's a new mail now. He corrected the timing.
Oh,
okay,
okay, okay.
cool. So now let's comment this. No. Okay, so care input and scanf percentage %c. So for reading characters, we use percentage %c and then like percentage input. Cool. And now the digit will be input minus the character 0. So 0 is character, whereas 0 is number. I mean, if you put quotes around this, it will become character. If you don't put quotes, it's just number. So input minus 0 is simply input, but input minus quotes 0 is, I mean, a different thing altogether. Okay. And then once we have the digit, all this will be same. Oh, let's also try this from 10012. Now just a word of caution, if you use percentage %c like this, it will actually like when you, so we are converting from ASCII to binary. This is character, and when you subtract, I mean put use minus operator, it will convert it to corresponding integer and do the subtraction. So this digit will be either 0 or 1. That's fine, right? And now according to that digit, we are converting the full 1101 to, I mean, assuming it is a binary number, we convert it into a decimal number.
So
So
are
we are
we
not,
scanning the whole input at once?
no, we are not. Okay, let's do one thing. No, no, we are, I mean, we are not taking all the input at once. We are first taking one. I mean, this will just read one character. So one, then do this thing. Another one, then again do this thing.
Okay, got it.
Okay, and so just a word of caution, when you write percentage %c directly, if you press enter, it will also read as a character. So you have, let's say, multiple floors. So you write 1100 0101. So I mean, you will suppose that it reads these four and then these fours, but in between it will also read an enter, which obviously you don't want. So you understand the problem, right? What is the problem? Essentially, there are 9 characters here. Four these, and one the like enter, and we don't want to read that enter. So what will we use is just put a space here. You can use gateway after. Yeah, you can either do that if you want. That's also fine. So every time you read a floor, just use get car. I mean, not get car. You can just use this again and ignore that enter character. I personally prefer to use it like this because I mean we honestly never care about enters and spaces. And just to show so one enter enter zero enter. So I mean this was just to show that we are reading one by one, not at all one thing. You understand how to like convert the characters to digits? Okay. Since we are like discussing conversion to binary and all that stuff, let's see one more thing. Okay, this is clear, right? If not, tell me. Otherwise, I will like remove all this. Okay, I am removing all this. So let's say you know how to convert a number to binary, and I mean I want 10 to be printed as 1 and 0. If you know, I will just write it without explaining. If you don't know, I will explain it also.
Can you please repeat?
Do you know how to convert this 10 to binary? What is 10? So 8, 4, 2, 1. Let's take a different digit actually. Let's take 9. So 8 and 1. 9. Let's take 8 only. 1, 2, 4. Either I want this or maybe reverse of this. Reverse is a little simpler, that's why I am saying. So given an input 8, I want this. Let me write for other few examples. For 10, we want 8, 4, 2, or just the reverse of this, which is 0, 1, 0, 1. Either the exact binary or the reverse of the binary. We want this input. We want this output. Do you guys know how to print this?
Like I know like by dividing by 2 and then 4 and by 8, but I don't know how to print it like 1010, like how to store this as like individual things.
Actually, you don't exactly. That's why I put the reverse thing. You don't need to store all, just print. So you get 0, you print 0. You get 1, you print 1. Okay, no issue.
You
So I
print
will
the
explain it.
So,
mod 2 and then divide it by 2.
so first divide it by 2 and do the mod operator
Yeah.
with 2 and print the result, and then divide mod operator with 4 and like loop it.
Yeah. So I mean, the snippet of code which someone sent is actually correct, but you don't need to go this much complex if you just want to print. So what we can do is while num. So initially num is 8. What we do is just take the modulo 2. So printf percentage %d num modulo 2, and after that we divide it by 2. So let's say let me take an example of 10 only. Just a second. So let's say I have 10. I do modulo 2. So 10 modulo 2, it becomes 0. Then I divide it by 2. So the next number I have is 5. Cool. I do 5 modulo 2, I get 1. Then I do 5 divided by 2. So when you do 5 divided by 2, you will essentially get 2.5, but since it is integer only, it will get converted to 2. So the next number we have is 2. Now we do 2 modulo 2 and we get 0. The next number we have is 2 divided by 2, which is 1. You do 1 modulo 2, it is 1. You divide 1 by 2, again it will be 0.5, but since it is integer, you will get 0. And we will end here. So what we have got is 0, 1, 0, 1. You understood the logic? Any doubts in the logic? So you keep on taking modulo with 2, you keep on dividing. No doubts? Or is it going less too difficult? I mean,
Clear, clear.
what if we wanted to print 1010 only? Uh, in that case, either you can do the method just shared above your message, but yeah, exactly, you should have learned this in game. So if you want to print 1010 only, either you can do that bin equal to 0 method, but it also has a constraint that it is storing it essentially as an integer. So 1010, it is treating it like 1010. So it will very soon like become, I will overflow the range. So another thing you can do is store this as an array. So you create an array of like, let's say 32. We just create an array of 32 int bits 32. You keep on like bit equal to 0. So current bit is on 0th position. You put 0 there. Increase bit. So weight is not 1. At 1th position, you store this 1. Increase bit again. At 2th position, you store this 0. Increase bit again 3. At 3rd position, you store this one. Now you know the last bit. Now just print in reverse. So from bit 3, start printing till bit 0. If you want to print it in correct order. Cool. So just let's do this. So if the logic is clear, I guess the program should also be clear. So while num, it's same as while num is greater than 0. Again, I've covered this thing in previous session, I think. But if you doubt, please ask. So yeah, this will like print in reverse order. Now let's say I want to convert this not into binary, but I don't know what exactly we call it, but binary is base 2, so we want to convert it into base 3. What changes will we require? Any idea what we can do if we want to convert this into base 3? Again, in reverse order will work. Just we want just to print it in reverse order. And let me know if it's going too complex. Use 3 instead of 2? Yes, exactly. That's the only change required. So we change this 2 to 3. We change it 2 to 3. That's all we require. And if you want to convert into base 4, again change this 3 to 4, for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For anything greater than 10, you will have to think about it. I mean, take it as a challenge maybe. Because if you want to convert into base 11, you essentially need 11 characters. So for that, you can maybe use 0 to 9. These are the 10 characters. And after that, for other characters, maybe you can use A, B, C till Z. So is it as simple as replace 2s with 3? Yes, exactly. It's as simple as replacing 2s with 3. This will work only till the base is 10. After then, you will have to like take care of this. So 26 more characters. So if you guys have read about like hexadecimal thing, so in that we use these 10 characters 0 to 9, and then for 10, 11, 12 we use A, B, C like this. So take it as a challenge, convert the number to base maybe 11, 12, 13, anything above 10.
We can do it using like ASCII characters, right?
Yes, exactly. You will need ASCII characters only, but I'm not sure
ASCII
if
character, integer form of ASCII characters minus zero form like of ASCII characters. Like
uh, actually you won't be able to do exactly like this because what I want to say, like the ASCII value of character 9 plus 1 is not same as the ASCII value of character A. I mean, there is a difference, so you will
oh,
have to like
okay,
put
okay,
conditions. I mean, from A to Z, you all have in sequence. So A plus 1 will be B always, and A plus 25 will be Z. And these all are in sequence, but the digits and the characters are on different locations in the ASCII table.
okay, okay.
Cool. Now we have around 1 hour left, so let's jump on to the solve problem now. So I was asking like who all have never heard of the solve problem or just don't know the logic behind that. If you all know the logic, I will just implement it. If you don't know the logic or the problem, I will explain that also.
Is it the same problem you discussed last class?
Yeah, exactly. It's the same. Actually, we have group one students also, so I'm not very sure. Okay, let me just tell the problem then. Uh, no issue. So for those who don't remember, the problem is basically we have n numbers, every okay no, n minus 1 numbers have a frequency of 2 and one number has a frequency of 1. So the input can be something like 2, 4, 5, 5, 7, 4, 2. So if you see, only 7 is there which have frequency 1, all other have like frequency 2. So the problem is to find the number with frequency 1. So this was the problem. All understood the problem? Should I continue to the logic? Cool. So actually we for those who yeah, Pawan, the answer is this only. Let me actually like start from the main. So first option is, I mean, use 2 loops and like pick up 2, check everywhere whether 2 exists or not. So if 2 exists, then it's not the element. Continue with 4 and again like looping. So this is the first approach. The second approach will be sort the array, and after sorting, you know that this array will be converted to 2, 2, 4, 4, 5, 5, 7. So you just have to check the very next element. So if 2 is there in the array, it will only be just after this 2. Cool. So this is the next approach. And the third
Sir,
is, yeah.
sir, but what if the first element itself is only occurring once? What if there's only 1, 2 in the list?
Okay, let's say there is only 1, 2. So in that case, let's say there are 1, 2 and 2 sevens. Okay, so the sorted will be like this, right?
Yes, sir.
Now we are on this 2. We want to check if in this array there is another 2 or not. We just check the very next element and we see that, I mean, it is not 2, and since the array is sorted, 2 can never be on any other place.
So we have to write 2 cases for it separately.
Not 2 cases. So let's try to generalize it. I will take some element in middle. So let's say I remove this 4 from here and put 7. So we have 2 sevens, we have 2 5s, we have a single 4 and 2 2s. Okay, so we have this thing. Now what we do is, just a second, we are on this 2. We check the very next 2. I mean, we check the very next element. So the next element is 2. We know that this is not the answer, right? Now
Yes,
we
sir.
jump 2 places. So instead of going to here, we don't go here, we jump 2. So we directly go here. Now we check if the very next element is same as this or not. And as you can see, it's not same. So this is our answer. If let's say this is also 4. So we see the very next element, we see it's also 4. We again jump 2 steps. Instead of jumping 1, we will jump 2 steps. Now we see the very next element. And since the very next element is 7, which is again not same as 5, 5 is the answer.
Yes, sir.
Cool. This is one approach. All of you know about XOR or not? I mean, I think you have read that in DSM. So should I assume that you know XOR and continue or not? Yes. Okay. So you know about XOR. So just let me tell you some properties of the XOR. So A XOR A is 0, 0 XOR A is A, and A XOR B XOR C is same as A XOR C XOR B. We had in DSM but not in CPRO. Yeah, that will work. So you just know the concept of XOR, that will work. So mainly these three properties are required. And if you like put some cases, you can see that they all are true. Okay, so what we can do is, let's take this array 2 4 5 5 7 2 2 4 5 5 7 2 2 4 5 5 7 7 2. Now if you see, let's say we create a variable a 0. Now we start XORing a with each and every element. So we do 0 XOR 2, 0 XOR 4, 0 XOR 2 XOR 4. This symbol is for XOR. Okay, so it will become 0 XOR 2 XOR 5, 0 XOR 2 XOR 4 XOR 5, and so on. And in the end, we will get 0 XOR 2 4 5 5 7 7 and 2. Okay, now let's start pairing it up. So zeros or anything is, I mean, we can just exclude 0. Let me change this. So we pair this 2 with this 2. We pair this 5 with this 5. Pair this 7 with 7. So essentially, in the end, we have got 0 XOR. The pairing of 2 will give us 0. Pairing of 5 will give us 0. Pairing of 7 will give us again 0. And the only thing will be left is 4. And 0 XOR 0 XOR 0 XOR, it will be 0, 0 XOR 4, and it will be 4. So the answer is 4. Any doubts in this?
So we can directly use the caret symbol for XOR and while coding.
What?
We can directly use the caret symbol in our code while using XOR.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't remember the name of this symbol. Yeah, you can use this symbol directly. Cool. So let's try to actually like code it up. Just give me a second. The screen is visible, right?
Yes, yes.
So let's remove this. So int n as percentage d and percent n. Okay, so do we need an array for this or not? For this problem, do we need an array?
Yes, to store the elements, we should like store it in an array, right?
So who all think array will be required? Just react on the array message. Those who think array won't be required, react on no array. The problem is we are given n numbers and we print the number with frequency 1, given that all other have frequency 2. Okay, cool. Few people think array will be needed. and few people think we can do it without array also. So I mean everyone understand how we can use array, right? So we just create an array of n size, we take input. That I guess is clear. So someone who reacted on no array can please, like, will it be possible for someone to turn on the mic and explain how is it possible without array? Anyone?
You start with 0 and you just, when you input an element, you just OR it and then store it back to the temporary element. Let's say a equals to 0, then you OR a with n, which you read, and then store a as a result of the XORing.
Yes. So that's exactly that's the exact way. So instead of like storing all the elements, we just let's create a variable number. We create a loop. We input the number and we store that number. Number equal to number XOR a. Alright. Okay, so you don't. I mean, you can keep XORing a, the not a. Sorry. Okay. Oh yeah, sorry, the a. So you don't need to like store all the numbers first and then XOR. You can keep on XORing, and this will be actually a. You can keep on XORing with a and storing it back. And now again, just like I said, we can write it like a XOR equal to number. Cool. And in the end, printf just the value of a, and this will be the answer. Let's everyone comfortable with this code? Any doubts? Cool. Let's try running this program for a few cases.
Sir, can you please teach us the sorting syntax?
Sorting syntax. So, what all sorting methods have you read in the class?
Only bubble sort.
Okay, so cool. So after that, I will like tell how to do both sort. Cool. So, what was the input? I don't remember. Let's give any random five numbers. 1, 2, 3, 3, 1. The output should be 2. Let's hope it comes 2. Yeah. Everyone clear with this? Right. Okay. So we have like roughly 30-40 minutes. Anything you want to learn other than bubble sort? Okay, someone said that sir had taught define and function calling, something like that. Is there a student here? I think he or she asked that we always define function outside int main, something like that. No? Okay, forget about that then. Uh, so bubble sort on. Did we do quick sort yet? Muskan, I don't think sir taught you quick sort as far as I think. I don't know actually. Can someone like comment who attended the classes? I mean, it's very unlikely that you studied quick sort. Cool. Okay. For bubble sort, do you guys know the logic and only want the kind like how to implement that, or logic also? Do you want me to explain the logic or only the writing code part? Someone asked to explain bubble sort, right? Cool. So we will discuss the logic once. So let's say we have an random array, I don't know, 1, 5, 9, 7, 3. Okay, so what bubble sort tells it, from the first element, check the second element. From the second element, check the third element. From the actually it will be better. Check the first and the second element. Check the second and the third element. Check the third and the fourth element, and the fourth and the fifth. And every time you do a check, if they are not in the order, you swap them. So initially array is this. We check 1 and 5. 1 is before 5, so that's in the correct order. We 1, 5, 9, 7, 3, this was 1 and 5 was in correct order. We now check 5 and 9. So we are doing this checking. 5 is smaller than 9, so again this is in correct order. We skip this. We now go to this checking 9 and 7. So 7, since it's smaller than 9, should be on the left hand side. So we swap these two. So this will become 7 and this will become 9. Okay, now we still need to check only fourth and fifth, even though that fourth element is changed to 9. So we will do this checking, right? So we are checking fourth and fifth, but the fourth element is changed. So 9 and 3, since 9 is bigger than 3, it will come later. So 3 and 9. Now obviously, as you can see, it's not sorted. We repeat this process again. So 1, 5, 1, 5, 3, 7, 9. You check this. Yeah. So like this, you just continue doing this process till you get a sorted array. And if you see, this is first iteration, this is second, and later we will have third. And after first iteration, we on the right hand side, this much array is sorted. After second iteration, this much array is sorted. If you do the third iteration also, so it will become 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. After third iteration, this much is sorted. So even if we have something like 9, 0, 0, 0, 0, when you do the first iteration, you will swap these two, 0, 9. You will swap these two, 0, 9. You will keep swapping till 9 gets here. So essentially, every time after first iteration, this much will be sorted. After second, this much will be sorted. After third, this much will be sorted. So like this is the brief overview of logic. Let me know if you understand or want me to repeat it again. So let's even though the array is sorted in third iteration only, we will like continue because we are not sure. You cannot just see the array and say that it's sorted. Anyway, okay, so you understood. Cool. Let's jump onto implementing it then. So first of all, we need to take an array input, and for that we need size. So int n scanf percentage d ampersand. This is the size of the array. As soon as we get the size, we create an array of that size, and we take input all the elements. I mean, you guys have studied about pointers, right? Have you? Okay, cool. So just for those who are curious, you may look at this. So you can write the same thing as percentage d a plus I, or scanf percentage d I plus a, or even more crazy, scanf percentage d I of a. So not directly. So ampersand I of a. So from ampersand a of I, we can also write it like ampersand I of a. I mean, just read in the book if you are curious.
I think
You'll
sir has
see that.
explained this because A is the base address of the array and
Yeah,
plus I is like adding the ith address. So
yeah,
like this is the address of the same. This is same as scanf percent d and of a bracket I.
yeah. I mean, these two are still like okayish. I in my first year I got crazy after learning about this.
Yeah, even I don't know the last one.
And so now, what the logic said is we like loop over the array and like continue swapping till we reach the end. And we do this uh, how many times since the array is sorted. So while array is not sorted, I mean obviously I will fill this in. While array is not sorted, uh, do one iteration of bubble sort. So for int, okay, so one iteration of bubble sort requires looping through an array and checking just the right element. For int I equal to 0, I is less than n, I plus plus. If a I, which is the first element, is greater than a of I plus 1, swap. Anyone, any idea of what is wrong in this code? I mean, assume that I have implemented this and I have implemented this swap. What is wrong with this code? Till n minus 1, yes, exactly. So since we are doing I plus 1 here, we need to make sure that I plus 1 is strictly less than n. So either you do this, or maybe I personally prefer this, I plus 1. So I plus 1 should be strictly less than n. Both are same, whatever you are comfortable with, use that. There is no good or bad. Cool. For swapping, either you can play around with
I have a
pointers.
question.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah.
Yeah, but in the earlier for loop, like in which you said that there was a problem, the I was going from 0 till n minus 1 only. So I plus 1 was
No, the
would be
original
n.
loop was not this. Originally, it was this.
Yeah, even in this, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, but I goes from 0 to n minus 1 because I is less than n, right?
Okay, okay. I got your problem. So let's say I create an array int a5. What is the first element of this array? I mean, how do I access it?
Oh, okay, got it. From 0 to like a 0 to a n minus 1.
Yeah. So
Okay, okay.
basically, I plus 1 should be maximum n minus 1.
Got it, got it.
So for swapping, either you can play around with pointers or you can just create a temporary variable. So we store the value of AI, we change AI to AI plus 1, and now AI plus 1 will become temp. So swap. Everyone understood that how this is swapping? Or should I explain this? If no one says, I will assume that everyone understood it. Cool. So we have done the swapping. One iteration of bubble sort is done. And while array is not sorted, now in the logic as I said, we repeat the steps till the array becomes sorted, and after one iteration, last one element of array is sorted. After two iteration, last two elements are sorted. So after n iteration, last n elements will be sorted, which essentially means that the whole array will be sorted. Cool. Right? Any doubt in this? So essentially, we want n iterations to sort n elements, which is essentially the full array. So for int iterations equal to 0, iterations is less than n iterations plus plus. Who all understood till now? Just message. No one? Can you explain it using recursion? Muskan, honestly, using bubble sort you can very easily do with for loops. I mean, recursion will make it much more complex, I guess. If you want, maybe later I can give a few recursion questions for practice. Bubble sort honestly does not deserve using recursion. Okay, so now there is a small optimization we can do this in the program, which I mean, one of you will tell me. So it will be basically using the fact that after I iteration, the last I elements are sorted. It is given this. It is given that after I iteration, the last I elements will be sorted. So how we can use this information to optimize this code? So we are doing something which even if we don't do it will not matter. We are just wasting the computer power doing that. Hardik, I think you know, but you typed it wrong. Okay. I think you don't know then. So after iterations n minus 1, yeah, that is one thing. And reduce n by 1 in every iteration. Okay, so let's say, Muskan, I will get to your question just a second. Let's say I reduce n here. You mean here only, right? Or somewhere else?
No, it should only affect the inner loop, so we should probably use a different variable also.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, instead of using different, you can just write iterations. So for the first time, it will go, I mean, till the end. I mean, you cannot directly subtract n because it will cause problem here. Either you create a different variable or you do it like this. So after first iteration, you just ignore the last element because you know it is sorted. And so say if swap occurs, so you will reduce n. I mean, given you store n in another variable, and you will reduce it here only. So here, so it does not matter of swap. So after every iteration, you know that the large element will be sorted, irrespective of how many times you swapped. Cool. So coming on to the Muskan questions, what if it's already sorted? Unfortunately, we cannot do anything about it. So if it's already sorted, we will still go over this whole process to confirm that it's sorted. You might think that maybe you can just check first that it's already sorted. You can do that, but I mean, there are a lot more complications. So let's say the array is something like 9 0 0 0 0. Now, I mean, you know that it will be only one change. I mean, only one element will change of position, but essentially you cannot like code all these cases. So you will have to go over all this.
We can do one thing. In the first for loop, we can declare a variable like count,
Yeah.
and for if in the if statement, in the first for loop, count is equal to 0, and in the
If no
if
swap
state,
occurs in break.
yeah, if no swap occurs, then break.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing you can do. I
So
mean,
if in if statement, if swap occurs, then we can do count plus plus, or else count remains 0. So if count is 0, then break, and if count is not 0, then do the loop.
yep. So what he's saying is to like initialize count here. We do count plus plus, and if count is still 0, again you can write it like if count is 0, then break. Because if count is 0, then we have not changed any elements. It's not worth doing all other iterations. But again, this will also like, let's say the array is 5 4 3 2 1. Though you know that the sorted will be just reversing it, you will still go over all the iterations. So anyway, like, let's do one thing. Ignore this thing now. And for those who know time complexity, what will be the time complexity of this? Size of the array is n. Once again, for those who are trying, please react to my message so that I know I should wait.
Is it O of n square?
Yes, exactly. So the time complexity is O of n square. Anyone having doubts how this is O of n square?
Do we not count the first scanf for loop?
Yes, you count that. So you are getting n square plus n, right?
Yeah.
So if you remember, you are getting n square plus n. But like I said in the previous session, one of the session, we only take the highest degree. So the highest degree is n square. So essentially, you just write n square.
Okay.
Both are same. We just write the highest degree because that's what matters. So everyone comfortable how it's n square? Cool. So now let's do one thing. Now all those who told that the complexity will be n square or n square plus n whatever. Now tell the complexity of this code. So we use this count thing. What will be the time complexity now?
Is
Can
it
you
still
repeat
the
the
same?
question?
What?
Can you repeat the question?
We introduce this count variable. I think you only said this, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so we introduce this count variable. If count is 0, then we break out of this loop, which increases the performance of this algorithm, I think. So now what will be the time complexity?
It will be same, right? We do worst case
Yeah,
analysis.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So same complexity, but lesser time taken on average, maybe. Yeah. So on average, maybe it will take less time, but what matters is the worst case in almost all the. So it's still n square, and that's why uh, on average, yes, it will increase, but it does not matter if you use it or not. Cool. Every time you get a TLE, it's not about average case, it's about worst case. So even if you write extra code to improve the average case, I mean, it will know to help you.
Sir, can you explain once how is time complexity n square plus n?
Sure, just give me a second. Okay, so we have this for loop, and this is running n times from 0 to n minus 1, right?
Yes, sir.
So time complexity is just the number of iterations, so we get n from here. Now this for loop is running n minus 1 times, but we ignore the constants, so we just say it is also running n times.
Yes, sir.
And this for loop is something crazy. So let's say we are on 0th iteration. So for 0th iteration, we are running the inner for loop n times. For first, we are running n minus 1. For second, we are running n minus 2 times. Is it clear? So for the first iteration, we run the inner loop n time. For the second, we run n minus 1, we run n minus 2, and so on.
Yes, sir.
Cool. So the total number of iterations will be essentially like summation of all. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus n. Now this is AP, and most of you just remember what is the sum of this, which is n into n plus 1 by 2. Now this can be one summation 1 plus 2 till n minus 1, but again it does not matter what exactly I take, n minus 1, n plus 1. So the exact, if you want to write n plus n into n plus 1 by 2. Cool.
Okay, sir. Yes.
So now we ignore the constants. It will become n plus n into n plus 1, which will be n plus n square plus n. And we take the highest degree only, so it will be n square. You just remove the lower degree terms.
Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
Cool. Anything else anyone want to discuss, or maybe we can try some recursion questions?
Sir, can you explain how the time complexity is log n when we use square root function?
See, The exact square root function, even I'm not very sure how it's implemented. It's like highly optimized, but if you know about binary search, do you know about binary search?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so in binary search, you like always divide your range by 2. So you just assume that your square root lies between 0 to n. I mean, the square root cannot lie after n, right? You
Yeah.
keep on dividing your range, and the complexity of binary search is log n, right? You know that or
Yeah.
not? I mean, if you don't know, tell me.
Can you repeat?
If you don't know the time complexity of binary search is log n, tell me. I will explain that.
No, I don't know.
Okay, cool, no issue. So let me explain. So let's say we have an array 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on till 9, which means 10 elements. Cool. In binary search, whatever you do, you always like decrease your sample space or search space by 2. So from 10 elements, you will go to 5. From 5 elements, you will go to maximum 3. So 5 by 2 is 2.5. In the worst case, you will go to 3. Actually, let's take a bigger number. So let's say it's not 10, it's 50. So from 50, you go to 25. From 25, you can go to maximum 13, then maximum 7, maximum 4, then 2, and then 1. This much you understand or not?
Yes, sir.
Cool. So if you see, roughly everything is multiplied by 2. So 1 into 2, 2 into 4, 4 into 2. I mean, this is 7, but ignore the exact match. Roughly, it's into 2. Okay, so let's say this is steps. I mean, one step, two step, one step, two step, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so in 7 steps, we got from 50 to 1. Now, just see it in reverse. We can go from 1 to 50. Okay, and if you see, since there are 7 steps, you can do 2 to the power 7, and for that you do 50. Now take logarithm both sides, log base 2, so 7, and log base 2, 50. So 50 is basically n. So for general n, the number of steps is log base 2n, and the number of steps is the number of iteration, which is the time complexity.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, why did we take 2 power 7?
So let's say we have n steps, not n, let's say x steps, and we want to go from 1 to n. Let's like keep it general only. Okay, so in x steps, if we can go from 1 to n, it means that 2 to the power x is somewhat equal to n, because every time we are multiplying by 2.
Okay.
So you take log base 2 x, log base 2 n. X is the number of steps.
Okay.
Okay, I think that will be enough for today, I guess. If you have any doubts, just let me know. Otherwise, maybe you can leave.
I just had a general doubt.
Yeah.
When using return or exit functions, does it matter what number we use? Does it like return 0 or return 20?
Uh,
Like do it at the end of int main.
See, it's a good practice to always return 0. Your program may locally work even if you do return something else or exit something else. But again, on OJ, since it's a good practice to return 0, I think it may give error if you return something else. Because anything other
Okay.
than 0 is essentially saying that your program failed. It's a convention.
Okay.
So you
Got
might think.
it. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? If you don't have any doubts, you can leave. That's more than enough for today.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, when we use other functions other than main, when we should use int and void and
So if you want the function to return something, so like I showed a power function,
yeah.
like I think I showed you this power to int a and then return a into a. So here you want to like give back some value. So if you want to give back some value, you just return type int. If you don't want to return any value, you just maybe just want to print something or do something like that. You don't do int, you do void. So let's say keep it int. Let's say void and debug, and it's just print f you have reached this line. So if you don't want to return anything back, you don't put any return type, just void.
Okay. And for both the functions, when we use int or void, we should mention them in the main.
What exactly do you mean by mentioning in the main? I don't get that point.
Call the function.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, you can call it actually like you can call a function from any other function. So you can call this debug from main. You can call this pow2 from main. If you want, you can call debug from here also. So I mean, the concept of function is to reuse them. So you can literally use them everywhere. Just make sure that if you are using debug in this, then this should be declared below this, so that the compiler know that debug is there.
okay, but we introduce like write other functions above main.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
And
there is a way to write all the functions below main, but if you don't know that, you can skip that. I don't use that. Just declare all the functions above main.
okay. When we start the program, it directly starts from main function first.
Yeah, irrespective of how many functions are there above main, it will start from main function only.
Okay, I got it. Thank you, sir.